How's it going, guys? I'm Jared from Avalanche Reviews, and welcome back to Talking Points. Now today I wanted to talk about something that really pisses me off and affects all of us as gamers. That's fanboys. Now I know a lot of us know one or two fanboys, and hell, one of you guys may even be one, so I'm going to try and tread lightly here. But having said that, I really feel like fanboys are responsible for a good percentage of the gridlock that gaming's been in lately. Now I know that they're not mainly responsible, but I feel like they're big contributors here, and if you'll bear with me, I'm going to try and explain it a little bit better. But before I do that, I would like to clarify there is a big difference between a fan and a fanboy. Now let's say if you decided to buy a PlayStation 3 instead of an Xbox 360 or a Wii because it fit your specific needs more than the other two did, that would make you a PS3 fan. Now let's say if you decided to buy a PS3 because Microsoft sucks and Xbox gamers are assholes and the Wii is for little kids, that would kind of make you a PS3 fanboy. And there's a big difference there, and I want to kind of go into this with you guys knowing that there is a difference, and I do recognize that. What these fanboys don't understand is that big corporations like EA or Squaresoft or Nintendo or Sony, these big corporations, they thrive on competition, and they believe in the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. So if fanboys are constantly supporting a platform that isn't working, there's no competition there, and there's no reason to change. Let's say you and every other Silent Hill fan went out and bought a copy of Silent Hill Homecoming at launch. Now because you guys are Silent Hill fanboys, you're showing Double Helix Games that they can keep putting out subpar Silent Hill games and we'll keep buying them. I mean, why would they change? Why would they try to improve themselves if they're making money with their current methods? It really makes sense to not be a fanboy and to not support the platforms in the series that aren't doing what we want them to do. You know, otherwise we're sending them the wrong message, and it's reflecting on us. It's reflecting on the games that we get to play. Fanboys like this can even go as far as to affect console sales. I mean, let's say if enough of us don't buy console A because it doesn't have the features that console B has, eventually that company behind console A is going to have to improve their game, and they're going to have to compete with console B. Console B in turn is going to have to up their game to, become better than console A again. And this is really where we win. The competition between these companies is where we get our best products. Another really good example of fanboys affecting the games that we get is the Call of Duty franchise. I mean, I think we all know the Call of Duty franchise has been in a steady decline as far as quality goes, but they're still raking in the cash. They're still making massive amounts of money. And it's not because their games keep getting better and better and better. It's because Call of Duty fanboys will keep buying the games regardless of the quality that they're put out in. They really don't care whether or not it's a good game coming out. They are fanboys of the series and will keep putting down $59.99 at launch no matter what. And that's really driving the quality of the games down. You're showing these companies that they can keep doing this and you will pay. And that kind of explains why they're using Modern Warfare 2's outdated engine and Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. I mean, if I was Activision, would I go through all the time, effort, and money it takes to completely recode a new engine, or would I keep using the old one because I know you guys are going to keep buying it anyways? The answer is pretty clear. I'm going to make a lot of money if I can do it. Listen guys, there's nothing wrong with really loving a series or a product. I mean, I don't know where I would be without Max Payne or Final Fantasy or Metal Gear Solid, but I'm not going to go out and buy a game in that series just because it's in that series. I'm going to buy a good game regardless of what series it's from. I'm not going to support a franchise that isn't having my best interest in mind. And that should be an attitude that a lot of you guys take when you go to GameStop or wherever it is you pick up games on Steam or wherever. You should really think about it first. Is this a good game? And how is this going to affect the next game that comes out in the series? And honestly, we've really showed them what we're going to take, and that's pretty much anything they're willing to give. We really need to kind of bunker down and start making decisions of what franchises we want to continue with in the future. If we keep buying subpar products, they will keep selling them to us. That's a fact. And it's a really shitty one, and I wish that the responsibility wasn't on our shoulders, but it honestly really is. We need to start figuring out what we want. A really good development in the whole fanboy situation is crowdfunding like Kickstarter. This is really going to help us decide what games come out, and I think honestly is going to be a big part of game development in the future. I could go more in depth with that, but I think that's safe for another video. But it's safe to say that fanboys may be able to speak a little bit less if we're controlling what games come out. And Nintendo fanboys, I'm specifically looking at you. You know, if you guys stop buying Mario games, they're gonna stop putting them out, and we can all stop experiencing the bullshit that is new Mario games. And back to my previous point with, you know, the Silent Hill series, Silent Hill fanboys are ruining it for the rest of us. I mean, Silent Hill is an incredible series. Silent Hill 1 through 4, not a big fan of The Room, but Silent Hills 1, 2, and 3 are obviously some of the best horror games ever made. That can't even be argued. But at the same time, since this new company has acquired the rights to it, they keep releasing terrible Silent Hill games. And they're selling, they're actually selling. And that's insane because they're so clearly terrible. But fanboys keep putting money into the series just because they like the series. And that's not having the desired effect. You're not supporting the series, you're supporting the terrible games. And now I have to sit down and play, you know, Silent Hill Downpour. And that's not a terrible game per se, but it is a terrible Silent Hill game. And if Silent Hill Homecoming hadn't made so much money, and, you know, Silent Hill Zero, or what was it called in America, Silent Hill, it was the PSP game. If those games hadn't made money, Downpour would have never been made. And I could sit back and think about the Silent Hill series with really nice thoughts instead of, oh, too bad it sucked in the end. I know this seems kind of like a small issue, but it really does affect a lot of us, and affects, you know, release cycles, and affects the quality of titles that come out for us to play. So we're in a position to where our games are being affected by people that we don't even want to associate ourselves with. And I think that's true with most gamers. You know, fanboys tend to be kind of ostracized inside the gaming community because they're a little bit too hardcore and too argumentative and a little bit too extreme for a lot of us. And you know, I would like to really state that I am very close to that fanboy level with a lot of series. The Final Fantasy series, for instance, one of my first RPGs was Final Fantasy V, and I couldn't be more in love with the series if I tried. But I'm not going to go out and buy Final Fantasy 13-2 and whatever abomination they put out after that if it's clearly terrible. I got tricked into that with 13, and that's when I started to learn. And you guys should learn from the same mistakes I made. Don't support a series when it's bad. It's not going to eventually turn good because of that. You're just showing them how much effort they can put in for a final product and have you buy it. And if we don't start making those decisions and we don't start showing developers that we're not going to pay for shitty games, that's what we're going to have. We're going to have shitty games, and that's going to be a pretty grim future for all of us as far as gaming goes. Look guys, I don't want this to be a rally cry for all of us to rise up and overtake the fanboys. I mean, that's not the case here. I'm trying to tell a lot of you guys that very well may be fanboys that you may be doing a lot more harm than good for gaming and the series that you love. If you love a series, you have to be very adamant about letting the developers know what you want in the future titles in the series. And if you buy games in the series haphazardly, then you're not showing them that. You're showing them that you're going to buy them no matter what they put out. All negativity aside, I think fanboys played a really big role in gaming in the early days and even coming into its infancy. But in the age we're in now, where AAA titles are costing millions and millions of dollars, you know, developers are really playing it safer and safer as every year goes by. And I think Resident Evil 6 is a big example of that. I think now fanboys tend to hurt more than they help, and we need to realize this, and a lot of you guys need to realize it. If you are fanboys, you need to start thinking about the series that you love and what you want to happen with them. And I know what you're thinking, you know, how can I be sure if a game's good before it comes out? And it tends to even be a crapshoot if you do your research, but you gotta make sure you do that research. Watch the trailers, the developer interviews. I mean, there's a lot of games that were obviously shipped before they came out, and you know, you're going to be able to see that coming into the trailers, the interviews, the you know, pre-alpha footage, things like that. We really need to start doing our research and buckling down and making sure we want that game before we put the money down, before we pre-order it. The bottom line is I don't hate you fanboys. I really don't. You know, I understand what it's like and I've been there before. But you guys and all of us as gamers, we really need to make sure that we go into this next generation of consoles and games getting the games that we want, the consoles that we want, the ones that we're willing to pay for, not the ones that fanboys will shell out cash for no matter what. We really need to make sure of that. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. This is about as deep as I'm willing to get in one subject for one video. But thanks for watching. If you have your own views on fanboys, positive or negative, let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to find out how you guys feel about this subject. If you ever want to get in contact with me, you can find me at facebook.com/avalanchereviews or twitter.com/avalanchejared. And definitely make sure to give a listen to my friend Dr. Zalog's new album, Vulgar Fractions. I'll put a link in the description. It's all the music you've been listening to so far. And I know I already said it, but thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciated the positive feedback I got from my last talking points on Japanese RPGs, and I hope this one has a similar effect. But I think that's all for me, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. As usual, I'm Jared from Avalanche Reviews, and I will see you guys later.